going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're going to be checking out the Zorik 5-in-1 multi-light. And they call it the multi-light because not only does it have that front-facing LED, but we also have this side panel with multiple different LEDs. We have a red, a yellow, an additional white LED, and even a UV LED. Now this is a keychain size light, so of course there's a slot to attach it to your keyring, but one of my favorite features of this Zorik 5-in-1 is the quick detach base that allows you to quickly remove that base and exposes the pry tip underneath. So not only does that allow you to remove it from your keychain, but now you have this additional functionality. It's about 6 millimeters wide, making it perfect for prying tasks, but also to use as a flathead screwdriver, and has sharp enough corners that it can even help you get into packaging, and so adds a lot of additional functionality to the flashlight. Now this one just launched on Kickstarter. It's already fully funded, so that Kickstarter ends on October 1st. After that, these go into production and should ship out in December. Now there's two different versions. This is the aluminum version, which had a launch price of $39. There is a titanium version as well that had a launch price of $59. Obviously that's much lower than MSRP. As that campaign goes on, those prices may fluctuate a little bit based on early bird packages and things like that, but I will leave a link down in the description where you can find this campaign if you'd like to back it for yourself. Now onto the light. Again, this is the aluminum version, but the dimensions are going to be identical for both of them. 3 inches long, and then our head, which is the widest point, is about 0.59 inches in diameter. So very compact. Both of them are pretty lightweight. This aluminum one weighs in at 0.98 ounces with the battery installed. Titanium jumps up to about 1.34 ounces. It's running off a 350 milliamp hour polymer battery, non-replaceable on this one. USB-C rechargeable. Again, we have that dust cover here that gives it an IP67 water resistance, and this was an early prototype, so you can see there's a slot for a pocket clip, which I would imagine the regular version will have a pocket clip, but this one didn't come with the pocket clip installed. Also didn't come with the USB-C cord, but again, I'd imagine that's something that will be included once these fully launch. Now, getting into the light itself, the user interface is relatively straightforward. One kind of unique quirk about it is the single press doesn't do anything, and that's because there's no lockout mode on this flashlight, so you don't have to remember the lockout procedures, but it's also not going to accidentally turn on in your pocket. Now there is a momentary on if you hold that button. It jumps right into your high mode, but it is momentary, meaning that as soon as you let go of that button, you will be back off. And so in order to turn it on, all you have to do is double click. And it does have a memory mode, so I left it in that moonlight mode, which is only about 5 lumens, but will run for 30 hours in that mode. And then from here, you can cycle through all of the main front-facing modes. So we have a moonlight, low, medium, and high. So single click allows you to cycle, and at any point, if you hold it or long press it, it will turn back off. So this is 30 lumens in our low, which will run for 6 hours. 30 hours was our moonlight. And then again, we can hold that to turn it off. When we turn it back on, it will go back on in the same mode, of course, and then cycle again into our medium, which is 230 lumens for 5 hours. And last but not least in this cycle is our high mode, which is 750 lumens for about 2.5 hours. As always with these high and turbo modes, that is going to gradually ramp down over time. They don't give the step down stats, but it will gradually ramp down. You're not getting 750 lumens for 2.5 hours. And again, long press will turn us off, and then at any point in the off, long press will turn you into your high mode, but it is a momentary on. Now to access our side lights, all we have to do is triple click. And this has a memory mode as well. I believe I left it in the red light mode, and so I did. Now there is a flashing mode in here where it flashes between red and yellow lights. So if you are sensitive to flashing lights, I would probably skip out on probably the remainder of this video because we also have the strobe and SOS, but just be aware there may be some flashing lights in the rest of the video. So our red mode is about 10 lumens, 2.5 hour runtime on here. This is great for just being able to be identified in the dark. It has a decent runtime. And then there is a flashing mode between the red and yellow. In order to cycle these modes, it's exactly the same as our main cycle. You just single click and it will go into our next mode. So here you can see we're flashing between our red and yellow lights. The red is 10 lumens, the yellow is 25 lumens. Clicking it again, we get into our UV mode, and so this one's a little bit hard to pick up on camera here, but it is a 365 nanometer UV light, and these are great for UV reactive stuff obviously, but also for charging your glow-in-the-dark gear. So here you can see we have this glow-in-the-dark bokeh, and obviously can charge that up. A little bit hard to see with all these lights going, but does charge it very, very nicely. And then again, single click will get us into our next mode, which is our white LED. So this is an additional white LED instead of the front-facing one if you need one that's side-facing. This one only has one mode though, 25 lumens, and that's going to run for about 4.5 hours. And last but not least, we can go into our straight yellow mode, which is the same yellow LED that goes with the red and yellow flashing, and that one runs at 25 lumens for about 4 hours. And again, we can turn it off at any point, triple click, gets us back on in the same mode thanks to that memory mode, and then the long press turns us off. And last but not least, we do have the strobe and SOS mode. So once again, if you're particularly sensitive to flashing lights, these ones will flash even more than the red and yellow. Here you get to by quadruple clicking, and that goes into our strobe mode, which is the 750 lumens, the same as our high, and we can quadruple click again to go into our SOS mode, and then you can just long press to turn those off at any point. And so that's all of our modes. Pretty straightforward little flashlight. The user interface did take a second just to learn. One, because it didn't come with a manual since it was a prototype, but two, because you have to do the double, triple, and quadruple click rather than a single click mode. But that does save you from having to memorize the lockout mode with like an 8-second hold or 8 clicks or a 4-second hold, things like that. So I do like having quick and easy access to those modes without having to worry about locking it every time it's in my pocket. Let me know what you think of this light down in the comments below, and once again I'll make sure to leave a link in the description where you can pick one up for yourself if you'd like to back this Kickstarter. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, checking out some other content. All helps the channel out a ton, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.